Okay, let's start. Morning, this is the Gardener community meeting. Today we have one topic. Wesley will talk about end user monitoring in Gardener. Is there any other topic for today which is not on the agenda? If that's not the case, then Wesley, you can start.
He can. He has commented that he can't hear anything.
He can't hear anything. Okay.
He wrote that in the chat. But as I can hear you, it seems to be fine from your side.
Okay. He's coming into the room.
I'll just join the meeting in person before debugging my sound issues.
Yeah, here the sound is good.
Real sound. Okay, I just have to rejoin the meeting. And I'll share my screen. Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do a little introduction into the end user monitoring. I don't have a presentation because it's just gonna be a short little demo to show how the end users can access the monitoring stack, so the Grafana dashboards basically. So here I am on my dashboard, or on the normal Gardener dashboard. Currently I'm running, this will be in the next release of the dashboard, which should come relatively soon. So I'm just running the current master locally. So that's why it's on localhost 8080 right now. As you can see, I'm currently not the operator. So you can like register or unregister. And so this is what an end user sees. So they have their clusters. And then if you click on the cluster, there's a little monitoring tab. And then there's a link to the Grafana dashboard and also the username and password to get past the ingress basic auth. And then this also looks different. So if I unregister myself, so using Garden CTL, I can unregister myself, or I can register myself to become an operator. And then the view on the dashboard is different. So up here, I have to refresh the page. So now I'm an operator, so I have this little icon that I'm an operator, and I have different links. So the operators and end users have different links to different dashboards. So if I unregister myself again, so now I'm just a normal end user, refresh. And here is the link to the dashboard. So what dashboards do the end users have? So if normally you'd have to authenticate using the basic auth, so copy the password, but I already did that earlier. So I just have access to all the dashboards. They have 3 different dashboards. Let's take a look at the first one. This is just a overview of the cluster. So a lot of these dashboards we already had for the operators, and they just got reworked a little bit for the end users. So here we have like the API server connectivity and just general information on things that are up. You have things like the API server request latency, so things that could be interesting, or the error rate. We also have the etcd database size. So if a user fills up their etcd, they can look at this dashboard and do debugging themselves and figure out if they're doing something wrong. Likewise, we also have a list of all the API resources in the cluster. So if they have like a controller that creates lots of config maps, they should be able to figure that out using this dashboard. You can like filter, see how many config maps are in your cluster, or how many pods. There's not that much going on in my cluster right now. And then there's also the typical CPU usage and memory usage of the Kube API server. See if it's under stress. And then we have 3 little panels down here. So for the Cloud Controller Manager, also CPU and memory. Same thing for the Kube Controller Manager. And then finally, the Kube Scheduler also has CPU and memory, but also the end-to-end scheduling latency. So how long does it take for it to schedule pods? Okay, so that's the first dashboard. Then they have, so this is a brand new dashboard. It's an overview of all the nodes. So first of all, up here, you can select the worker groups. So if you have multiple worker groups, I created a second worker group in my cluster to demonstrate this. And you can select worker groups, or both of them, or all of them, and compare the different worker groups. And here you have the average CPU usage for the worker group, average memory, and also like the number of pods running on each of the nodes in the worker groups. And then I think like the most interesting thing in this dashboard is the overview of all of the nodes. So down here you can see each node, how much CPU, so the CPU usage, how much CPU it actually has. And so then you can use this table to optimize your node usage, hopefully. Also see how many pods are running on each node. And if you notice, hey, this why does this node have 10 pods running on it? Then you can click on the link here, and then you go onto our final dashboard. So that's this shoot node details. We just did a drill down to this node, or sorry, to this dashboard, and then you can see the node in detail. First of all, a little overview shows basic information about the node, how many pods, CPU usage and memory, but a little bit more detailed. And over time, so not just right now in this instant. And you can also see the file system usage of the node, and also the network I/O pressure. And then the very last thing is there's also the system services. So maybe if the kubelet is using up a lot of resources, you can see that, or if any other system services running on the node or using too many resources, you can find that out using these dashboards. Or I guess also if the kubelet is not running for some reason, you can also easily tell that here. Okay, any questions regarding the end user dashboards?
Just a short question. Maybe you showed it and I missed it just, but you showed that I can see the usage of the system services on the node and how much CPU they consume. So as to observe if, let's say, the kubelet or whoever goes crazy. Do I have some graph where I can see the same with regards to pods? I mean, or containers, so that I can judge, for example, I don't know which container is going crazy on a node.
So this is for the end users, the end user monitoring, and so if they want to, so that's not in the scope of this. This is just for the control plane. Sorry, I should have mentioned that at the beginning. This is just selected things from the control plane that we want to show, and also including the nodes because we have access to the information of the nodes. But if we start gathering information on all the pods, that's out of scope for the end user monitoring. Yes, exactly. The end user will have to do that. For the operator dashboards, we have that still.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
I have one more question. You mentioned that it will be available soon. So can you more specifically say when it will be available next week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks?
So the functionality is already released. So it's the this is the dev landscape, and I think it's also rolled out on the Canary landscape. It's just the dashboard. It'll come, this link on the dashboard, it'll come with the next dashboard release. So everything's already there. It's, the link actually just needs to be there. So you have to talk to the dashboard colleagues. They said soon. So.
So is anybody from the dashboard in the call?
Yeah, today or at least on Monday. I think today.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Wesley. If there are no other questions, then we can close this meeting for today. See you next week. Bye-bye.